All right, welcome back to the Onebar and Lupagus Show on Onebar. I'm very excited about this episode. Very excited. We're going to be doing the Vikings Perfect Offseason version 1.0. We're going to be doing a handful of these. Just like a mock draft, we're mocking the offseason of the Vikings. I'm talking players we're cutting to clear up space. I'm talking about Vikings in-house free agents that we're bringing back, guys we're not bringing back, free agency as a whole, big signings that we're going to be making, and then a full mock draft. And then at the end, we're going to shake out all the positions to see how it pans out. You can let me know if you love it, if you hate it, what you would have done differently. But let's get right into it. So first off, Vikings, they're sitting like $65, $70 million in cap space, a ton of money. I'm going to get greedy. I want some more money, and I want to move on from some of these Vikings, beloved Vikings, don't get me wrong. But you know what? We got to take the next step, baby. And sometimes that means trimming some fat. So let's do it. So players that I'm looking to cut. And these are the big ones. I mean, I'm not going to sit and go over every single player we're going to cut, but we're going to clear up some money as well. So CJ Ham is on the chopping block for me. Fullback wise, if the Vikings really do want that fullback, you can find a fullback for cheaper. And we love CJ Ham. We love that he's from Duluth, Minnesota, but he's also getting a little bit older. And at $2.6 million, that's what we save. I'm cutting CJ Ham. Ed Ingram, cutting him as well. We're going to save $3 million there. He got benched. I just don't think there's any coming back from that. It's a win-win. Move on from him. He gets a fresh start. Clearly, he is not in the cards long-term. Brian Asamoah, not a big, I'm not breaking news here, but again, he does save $1.4 million. Ty Chandler saves 1.1, RB3. I think he's an RB3 on a lot of teams in this league. Again, I think it's time for the Vikings just to look elsewhere, whether that's the draft. We'll get into that because I definitely have a replacement for him. But Ty Chandler, moving on, not so much the money savings. It's just let's try something different. Even as a return man, doesn't really bring anything. Josh Oliver. So he saves $5.1 million. Maybe he's a restructure. Maybe they bring him back. I was kind of on the fence with this one, but with all these guys right here, I mean, they're freeing up $12 to $13 million more to put on top of the already $65 to $70 million free agency. So salary cap. So on top of this, there will be restructures. Potentially Brian O'Neill, maybe TJ Hawkinson, where they're even freeing up more money. So the price we see right now in salary cap is only going to go up. And these are the guys I think the Vikings could look at to move on from them. So those are the big name cuts. Like I said, it frees up about $12.2 million right there. Let's go to in-house free agents. In-house free agents that I want them to bring back. Byron Murphy, obviously number one. He's probably going to be looking at anywhere from $15, $16 million a year. You got to. I mean, Gilmore ain't coming back. Mekhi Blackman's coming back from the injury. We got a lot of free agents out there. As you can see, I am bringing back Shaq Griffin, but before that, Byron Murphy is a must. You pay him now. Aaron Jones, I think a lot of people will be split on this one. Do you bring him back? Do you not bring him back? Do you want a fresh start? J.J. McCarthy's my quarterback. As you can see, Sam Darnold isn't on this list. J.J. McCarthy's my quarterback. I want that seasoned vet running back that still has gas left in the tank back there. Aaron Jones, I think you could get him at $5.5 million, somewhere around there. And for what he did this year, hell yeah. And what you are about to see that I'm going to do to this offensive line, Aaron Jones could easily, if he's healthy, put up 13 to 1,500 yards. So Aaron Jones, come on back, baby. I am adding a running back into the mix, like I said. Daniel Jones, to me, this is a no-brainer. It's a win-win situation. It's going to be curious how much he actually gets paid. There's projections out there that he's like 8.5, 10 million, which is in the Sam Darnold range. I'm cool with that. I know it's probably overpaying for a backup quarterback, but J.J. McCarthy needs that backup quarterback, and Daniel Jones is just in a perfect situation for him to come here. So I think that's a done deal. Shaq Griffin. So Shaq Griffin, I did not give enough love to. I'm not saying he was an all-pro by any means, but Shaq Griffin played pretty damn good. He played in all 17 games, started 3, had a couple interceptions, played well, and I think for the price tag and the situation our secondary is in cornerback-wise, you bring him back as a very good depth piece because that would give you Byron Murphy, Shaq Griffin, and Mekhi Blackman right out of the gates. And I'm not done at corner, but that's pretty damn good. So Shaq Griffin at the price, still only 29 years old. Let's go. I just threw a couple smaller ones in there. Jerry Tillery, defensive line, again, familiar, good season, not great, very good rotational piece. Hell yeah. Theo Jackson, Safety-wise, I got Harrison Smith retiring. I got us moving on from Cam Bynum. So Theo Jackson, I think, will be handed one of those safety spots, and you got to bring him back. He's a restricted free agent. He will be back. And Cam Akers, I'm on the fence on this one. I love me some Cam Akers, but I threw him on there because if we bring Aaron Jones back and the draft pick that I get, Cam Akers is expendable. He's expendable. But for now, I do have him on the list. So those are the in-house free agents. As you can see, like I said, I don't have Sam Darnold on there. I don't have Cam Bynum on there. Stephon Gilmore is going to probably retire. I got Harrison Smith retiring. So these are the big boys. This doesn't count all the little ones that fill in the depth chart. So before we get into the free agent signings, and this is where it gets fun. Remember, if you guys are watching, support the channel. We're trying to get to 14,000 subs. Boink, boink. So hit that sub if you ain't subbed yet. All right, let's go to the free agents. We still got free agency and the draft. I did a full mock draft. So let's get in the free agents. You ready? Bow. If you think I'm doing a perfect offseason version 1 without Trey Smith, you are nuts, because that's the big shiny toy. Everybody wants him. And he's going to cost a pretty penny, something that we have a ton of. We are like Scrooge McDuck at the beginning of the show where he's diving into those coins. But Trey Smith, 25. I don't got to go over Trey Smith. We know how damn good Trey Smith is. He's fantastic. Run, pass blocker, gave up 0 sacks in 2024, still only 25. Highest paid guard right now is $21 million. He's obviously going to be right in that mix. He comes in day one, boom, starter for the next. I mean, he's a Steve Hutchinson type signing. He is the guy. Guard has to be addressed, and you go for it. The big concern with him is a team like Chicago. Are they just going to say, you know what, here's a blank check sign? Is he just going to outprice himself? We will see. Guards continue to get more and more money. I mean, every free agency, you got to look at some of these guard contracts. Like, damn, I didn't know they're going to pay that much. So Trey Smith is the big shiny toy. Luckily, there are some good guards out there as well that they're decent fallback options if Trey Smith is, in fact, off the board. But that would be the big boy. Next up, we got B.J. Hill. B.J. Hill, defensive lineman, a guy that I've always loved. He's been with the Bengals. He's still got a couple years left in him, and he's just consistent. Good against the run, gets to the quarterback. He's a guy where his stat sheet is not just going to light it up, but he is just damn good. Pairing him with Harrison Phillips and an early draft pick that I got going on takes this defensive line and it makes it better. I think our defensive line was actually pretty good last year. We just didn't have that dominant piece where you add B.J. Hill, Harrison Phillips. I re-signed Jerry Tillery. You got LDR, and then my early draft pick that I'm going to throw in the mix here too that I'm not going to spoil. Defensive line looks pretty damn good. The one I honestly, Trey Smith blows everybody away. It's the most exciting pick, but Dre Greenlaw. Putting Dre Greenlaw next to Blake Cashman. Greenlaw is a tackling machine. The dude does it all. The Niners had a blast with him. Putting him next to Cash Money with Grenard, Van Ginkel, Dallas Turner. Hot damn, man. I don't know what Greenlaw is going to cost. And it appears, based off of research, nobody really knows what he's going to get paid. He's coming off that injury. He played very minimally. I think it was only one game with the Niners, got hurt again, and was just done. He basically posted goodbye to the 49ers. I mean, he's not going back to San Fran, barring a miracle. So he's going to be testing the free agency. And I think Flores would have a blast with this guy. I mean, I think Josh Mattel is just doing a ton of things. I think Greenlaw would be perfect for this Vikings defense. And then you still got Ivan Pace. You still got Ivan Pace in the mix to come in on passing downs. Like, I'm not writing off Ivan Pace. He's just not a 3-down guy. And Dre Greenlaw, very good in pass coverage. And like I said, tackling machine. Ben Barch. All right, Ben Barch. Nobody's going to get excited about this. I am. I'm going to get excited about this because Ben Barch comes in and he adds competition for Blake Brandel. And that's what we need. Blake Brandel should not be handed the job. Technically, I don't even think he should get the job, but he needs some competition. And Ben Barch is still young, 26 years old, former 4th-round pick, played minimally with the Niners this year, but when he was out there, he played damn good. I still think Ben Barch has a chance to be a very good guard in this league. And you put him next to Darrisaw. I mean, if Blake Brandel can look that good against Darrisaw, put a guy like Ben Barch that has more upside next to him. And I think we got a damn good offensive line. As you can see, I am bringing back Garrett Bradbury. I don't want to bring back Garrett Bradbury, but I do have to. at least, even though this is a dream scenario, I have to be mildly realistic. The Vikings love Garrett Bradbury. They do. They love him. And he's got 1 year left on his contract. And I think it's just a foregone conclusion that he will be back. I would love to wipe it clean. But we already have, in this scenario, I got Trey Smith at guard. I got Ben Barch at the other guard. And then we got Darrisaw back, O'Neal, and then Bradbury in the middle. That ain't bad. That is not bad at all. That's not bad. All right, last one. Christian Fulton. I call him Chris right here because there just wasn't enough room to put his name. But Christian Fulton, I would say a bust in Tennessee, goes to the Chargers, and dude balled, man. He played damn good. Started all year, plays very well against the run. A solid starting option where, again, at that secondary spot, we got Byron Murphy. In this scenario, we got Byron Murphy. We would have Christian Fulton. We would have Mekhi Blackman, bringing back Shaq Griffin, and then you throw in Nudie McLaughlin, maybe a draft pick. Did I draft one? We'll find out. That's pretty good. That's pretty good secondary. I'm not going to say it's dominant by any means, but we got to see what Mekhi Blackman brings back to the table. We saw his rookie year. He got us a little bit excited. He got us a little bit excited to the point where he got injured last year. We were devastated. We wanted to see him take the next step. So we got to see what's going on there. But bringing Christian Fulton in, maybe 1-2 year contract, and he comes in. Maybe he starts. Maybe he's just a rotational guy. But like I said, very good against the run and decent in coverage. So those are the big free agent signings. Those aren't all the gaps we're filling in, all the smaller guys. I would expect them to bring in a mid-range safety. I mean, Theo Jackson, Josh Metellus will probably be our starting safeties in this scenario, which I'm cool with. I'm fine doing that. But you got to bring in some competition as well. We have Jay Ward still on the roster. So now we go to the draft. Before we do that, remember, if you haven't yet, hit that sub button. Let's get to 14,000 subs. Let's go. I will say, spoiler alert for the draft. I did make a trade, and I really anticipate the Vikings make a trade. At 24, I ended up trading back, gotten a few more picks, and then traded back to the top of the second round. So just a spoiler alert there if you're wondering why the picks look a little goofy. But let's do it. Buckle up. Here we go. We went with the big boy, Kenneth Grant, right out of the gates, Michigan. Big defensive lineman, powerful. The dude has not reached his potential at all. He's just a monster. Like I said, Brian Flores would have a blast with him. You think about this defensive line with a big boy like Kenneth Grant, B.J. Hill, Harrison Phillips. You still got Jerry Tillery in the mix. You got LDR in the mix. That's beautiful. B.J. Hill, Kenneth Grant, Harrison Phillips. Huh. I'm getting excited. That's beautiful. All right, round 3. Cam Skattebo, we got Aaron Jones, and you put Cam back there. The gritty, just a dude with some kick-ass mentality that this team needs. You put him in that backfield, and you're doing 60-40 splits with these guys. The guy can catch the ball out of the backfield, and you're basically handing him the reins next year. Aaron Jones goes out on top, and we can get Cam right in the mix right out of the gate, and he would be a fan favorite. Round 3 is pretty much where he should go. Maybe a team gets excited, takes him in round 2, but I'm not huge on taking a running back this early, but with the trade back and I got some more picks and what we did in free agency here, I'm all for it. I am all for it, man. Talk about, I don't even buy jerseys. I'm probably too old to wear jerseys. We draft Cam. I'm probably getting his jersey. I just got to say, all right, let's keep going. So round 3, we get an additional pick with the trade. Zy Alexander, 6'2", good athlete, big size, physical, good ball skills, plays well against the run. A guy that, I think would get some time as a rookie, but he wouldn't have to get shoved in there with the guys that we brought in. Remember, we got Byron Murphy, Mekhi Blackman, Christian Fulton, Shaq Griffin, and then you got Nudie McLaughlin and Zy Alexander to polish off the depth chart there. So at cornerback, it goes from a little bit scary of the guys we're losing to, holy shit, this is actually a pretty thick squad here. So Zy Alexander. Next up, round 5, we go Ty Robinson. Ty Robinson from Nebraska, 6'6", 310, 37 tackles, 7 sacks. A guy who can play along the entire defensive line, adds a much-needed depth piece as well, and a guy that can push LDR, a guy that maybe sees the field as a rookie but can play anywhere on the line. And then we end up with Jalen Noel, the wide receiver, Iowa State. So what I love about him and what I love about all mid-round wide receivers is if you got good hands and you're a good route runner. And this is exactly what he is. He's got good hands and also good returner, punt returner, kick returner, just kind of does it all. I'll be curious to see what his 40 time is. He's not this guy that's going to come into a team and push for that number 1 spot, number 2 spot, just a depth piece. But putting him in, giving Jalen Naylor a little run for his money, made the best man win. Jalen Noel, if you haven't seen this guy, go watch him because he gets me excited in the mid rounds as a guy that could step in as a rookie and be like, all right, man, here's wide receiver 3. Oh, by the way, you're returning punts because Brandon Powell, as you saw, was not on my list. So that rounds out the mock draft portion of this. Let's just go over this real quick as a whole, where we ended up. So quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, Daniel Jones, boom. Running back, we got Aaron Jones, Cam Scatterbo. Wide receiver, we got J.J. Addison, and then it's Jalen Naylor, Noel, whoever wins it, win. Offensive line, we got O'Neal, Darrisaw, we got Trey Smith, we got Ben Barch, and we got Garrett Bradbury. Boom. Defensive line, Harrison Phillips, B.J. Hill, Kenneth Grant, and then we got Jalen Redmond, we got Jerry Tillery, and LDR. That's a pretty damn good mix. Let's go to linebacker. We got Blake Cashman and Dre Greenlaw. If that's our middle linebackers, I'm just telling you right now, I'm never going to stop talking about how excited I'll be. Cornerbacks, we got Byron Murphy, Mekhi Blackman, Christian Fulton, Zy Alexander, Noonan McLaughlin, and Shaq Griffin. And then at safety, here's the biggest question mark here. Safety, Josh Metellus, Theo Jackson. How does that mix go? Will it work? We will see. I'm confident Brian Flores will make that work. Then you got Jay Ward, and like I said, some sort of mid-round or mid-range free agent you bring in just to polish off the depth. But that's it. That is my perfect offseason version. Let me know in the comments how you're feeling about that. I'm sure I'll get some flack for it, but I bet people will be a little bit excited. Trey Smith, how can you not be? How can you not be? Remember, hit that sub button. We'll be back hot and heavy all damn offseason talking Minnesota Vikings.